morning, evening, or afternoon, depending on what side of the pond you're on, and welcome to an extra special episode of Across the Pitch. My name is Phil Kennedy, and I'm joined today by Tony Robinson, and we have an extra special guest for our first Accrington Stanley interview of Season 3. Now, we wrapped up with an interview, 3 parts, of Accrington Stanley manager John Coleman. And during that interview, he mentioned a man on his staff who does a lot of the hands-on coaching with the players this year. And we thought, you know what? We need to get John Doolan on the show. And John has been gracious enough to join us today. Welcome to the show.
Cheers, Phil. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
It's looking forward to having a chat, John. And it's after listening to John Coleman, I thought we would be it'd be only a good thing to get you on to hear your side of the story.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it. Thanks, Tony. Cheers.
I was just one of the things I just wanted to touch on, obviously with the Liverpool connection, one of the things that we noticed is that it seems like when we talk to a coach or manager or a player, they always have a comment about somebody so-and-so famous, a footballer, lives around the corner. Can you say the same thing? Because it seems like everyone in Liverpool lives near a footballer.
Yeah, well, I could say Mike Marsh used to play for Liverpool, doesn't live too far away from me. Centre midfielder. I think it was the Graham Souness area as well. So great player, Marsh. He could play centre mid. And I think he ended up finishing at right back. I think he had a stint in Galatasaray as well, and Graham Souness went over there. So yeah, so Mike Marsh, yeah, doesn't live too far away from me. So there's the trend continues.
Yeah, you can't really go too far, though. I mean, it seems like football is a very critical, I should say, not a critical mass, but something that's very, very ingrained in the Liverpool area.
Yeah, there's loads of sportsmen in Liverpool that come through. You know, even in the boxing world and everything else. You know, there's loads of top sports women, men and women. To be honest, also footballers. There's quite a lot that out in Formby and Southport, and I think John lives around there himself around that way.
Yeah, and then one of the things that when we talked to John that we had asked him about, or Tony had asked him about, is if he would ever have an all Liverpool starting 11, and he said he would not do that. But with the coaching side of things, I've looked and obviously John and Jimmy are from Liverpool. You're from Liverpool. I see that Tony Warner is also from Liverpool. So you guys are kind of like the 4 Beatles there.
Well, you could say that, but I am the odd Beatle, if you like, because I'm not a Liverpool fan. As them 3 are, I'm an Everton fan.
Oh, so you're the one digression from the red over to the blue. So I bet you guys get some banter with that Merseyside derby gets going.
Oh, definitely. I mean, obviously for years I've just been getting pelters off the 3 of them. So more so this year because Liverpool have been outstanding, haven't they? Obviously winning the Champions League and everything else. And all I've got to sort of hang my hat on is saying that they haven't won the league yet. And I've just said that's what they set out every year to do, and they haven't done that. So that's my only saving grace. I go, you haven't won the league. So until that happens, and if it does happen, I've got nothing then. So I'll keep throwing my hands up.
Well, and I know a few of the players are Everton supporters, so you must have some. You've got obviously some players that are on your side when it comes to the banter with John and Jimmy.
We have, so yeah. I mean, Sean McConnell's one. So me and Sean are obviously Everton fans. Phil Edwards is there as an Everton fan. So Scott Brown, when he was there, he was an Everton fan. But me and Sean, Sean's wines, John and Jimmy are great. So he'll come in, especially if Everton beat them in a derby, or we get some sort of result, or Liverpool get beaten, Everton win. So the banter's really good. Sean will come in and wind them up. He'll just, as soon as he opens the door into the canteen, he'll just go, "You're quiet lads, aren't you?" So that's happening. So that's how it all kicks off then. So it's quite funny.
Well, one of the things I noticed, and maybe you could just sort of, I haven't seen this too often, but you have coached at both the Liverpool and Everton Academy.
That's right, yeah.
How does that come about?
Well, to be honest, the Liverpool one was, I was taking me coaching badges, one of my coaching badges there, and John Coleman was actually on doing the course himself, so we were doing our UEFA B at the time. And then, it was all based at the Liverpool Training Academy up in Kirby. So we'd finished, we'd passed, we got our certificates and what have you. And Steve Highway was running the academy at the time. There's a couple of players that studied coaching staff that we knew there, Ian Brunskill and Stu Gallen. And Steve Yollis, who we ended up playing with Accrington with. And it was Stewie was running the programme, and Ian Brunskill, they just asked would be interested in doing a bit of coaching for them with the younger kids, the under sixes to start off with. And I just said, yeah, to keep me sort of going, keep me hand in with the coaching side of things, because obviously, that was what I was keen on doing. So I ended up doing a satellite for them up in Morrington. And then from there, I ended up coming into the academy and doing some coaching there and doing a few trips away with Liverpool. Yeah, so it was quite good. So that's how it all started, really.
And one of the things being in the management coaching side of things, putting and this happens a lot. You have to put aside the loyalty to your sort of boyhood team or the place where you're doing your work. Do you find that is a challenge at all?
Well, it was, because obviously I had to wear Liverpool training stuff all the time. So it's quite funny. Every time I put it on, I used to get some stick off my family. But I'd say, listen, I'm getting paid to wear this, otherwise it doesn't go on. So that was me sort of out, if you know what I mean. As well, that's all I can say. So, but yeah, I actually said it. When I took the sort of role there at Liverpool, I said, listen, I'm an Everton fan, and sort of the lads accepted that and whatever. I said, and Everton Liverpool play against each other. I said, I want Everton to win, full stop, at every level, which was quite, funny being in the academy level, but, first team are desperate for Everton to win. And then it was, sometimes it was a bit awkward when I'd take a couple of the kids that had signed, so they could sign at the academy level, whichever age group it was, under 8s, under 9s, and then you take them down to Liverpool on a Saturday to go to the game. So I'd end up meeting the parents and having my Liverpool trackie on and obviously walking into Anfield. So that was a little bit, bit scary at times, because I was like, hope no one sees me across the way there, across the path.
Yeah.
So I got away with it quite a bit, to be honest. It was okay.
So one thing we wanted to do was kind of talk a bit about your playing career to start off with, and looking through here, you spent some time, I think Wigan Athletic is probably one of the bigger parts of your career, but looking here, I noticed that you'd started with a club called Knowsley United. I'm not sure if I pronounced that correct or not, because that's not a...
You did, Phil. That's spot on. I mean, to be honest, before that, it was called Kirby Town, which is the town where we come from, me, John, Jimmy. So obviously Jimmy played for Kirby Town. I did myself. John was playing a little bit higher. I think he was playing in the other leagues in Lancaster, Southport, whatever, or I think Morecambe or something. So I ended up playing for Kirby Town, which then moved from Kirby Town. The chairman, I think it was the Lord Mayor as well at Liverpool at the time, Paul Law, Senior, they got a plot of land in Knowsley. So we ended up building a nice little stadium, and we had a great team. And we went there, and that was a good time playing there for Knowsley United.
So you went to Mossley, and then you went back again to Knowsley after that, did you?
Yeah, I sort of stepped up to Mossley, because they were in the sort of higher league at the time, sort of Manchester based or whatever it was. And I'd only played a couple of games, but it didn't feel right. I mean, funny enough, the assistant manager there at the time was Davy Jones. Used to manage Southampton.
Oh yeah, right,
so, yeah. So he was assistant manager there. He quite liked me, but it just didn't feel right. It was a bit too far, and I think my dad encouraged me to sort of stay there. But I ended up coming back to Knowsley United, and and sort of things kicked on from there then.
And then it was after that was when you moved on to Wigan, and you played there from 92 to 96, it looked like, and you made, was it 38 appearances with the first team over that time?
Yeah, I think it was something like that, Phil, yeah. So I'd gone there sort of the back end of the season, and I was playing in the reserve team a couple of games, and then I ended up playing in the first team towards the end of the season. So, and to sort of made the breakthrough there, we ended up doing quite well. I think I played the last 3 or 4 games, and one was Birmingham. We played Birmingham at home. They had 2 games left to win the league. They were already guaranteed promotion, and they come to Springfield Park, as it was at the time, and we ended up beating them 3-1. So that was quite good. That was sort of my debut. They ended up going to Stockport, if I can remember, and getting beat there. So they ended up finishing second, so they didn't claim the championship, but they got promotion. But yeah, so that was sort of, I played the last few games there. That was quite nice. And then had the pre-season, which was tough, coming from non-league and doing a professional pre-season, and then started the season off then at Wigan. That year was good, yeah.
Towards the end of your Wigan career is the time, if my timeline is correct, is when Dave Whelan came in and bought the club and brought in what they refer to as the three amigos, Martinez, Diaz, and Seba. Were you involved with the first team when all that took place? John?
I was playing centre midfield then when they came in, and when he first took over the club, Dave really had big plans for it all and what have you. And obviously he fulfilled all them. But yeah, Roberto come in, Jesus and Saber. So that was something unique, obviously, at the time, because you got them three coming in from Spain, and it sort of got quite pally with Roberto. So I sort of looked after him because the other two didn't really speak any English, and Roberto was English was okay, was pretty good actually. So we ended up being a bit pally. I ended up being sort of looking after them. One little story. We ended up playing pre-season. We played Dumbarton away. Gone up to Scotland for pre-season. So the manager at the time was Graham Barrow. So me and Roberto were playing centre midfield, and he's actually said before the game, just before we went out, he said, listen, he said, no one do anything silly because this referee thinks it's England versus Scotland. So I'm thinking, okay, so we ended up kicking off. Next minute, they had a player, I don't know if you've ever heard of him, called Chick Charnley. He used to play for Celtic. So he's playing in centre, bit of a hard case. He's playing centre midfield, and he's putting it about, and he's leading one on Roberto, and he's leading one on most of the floor across the middle there. So I says to Roberto, look after yourself, and he didn't really know what that means. So I says, right, you go there, I'm going to mark him. So obviously then the ball comes into Chick. I've gone over to tackle him, and as he's passed the ball, everyone's following the ball, he's just bang, elbowed me right in the face. I've sort of moved back, and I was on my way down, I give him a little slap across the face. But when you think, oh no, what have you done?
Yeah.
I've gone down, he's gone down, and I'm sort of holding my face, but looking through my fingers to say, oh my God, the ref's getting the red card out. I hope it's for him. And obviously it was for me. So I ended up, I think we started the season off, we played Gillingham away, first league game. And I started, Roberto was on the bench, and I got a 3-game ban for getting sent off at Dumbarton away. And Roberto stepped in. So lesson learned for me there, don't get sent off again.
Yeah.
but we became quite close then after that,
And of course, he went on to coach your team, to Everton, there for a while.
Yeah, I went from Liverpool. That was sort of like a part-time coaching role I had at the academy of Liverpool. And then I was running a couple of grassroots teams as well. My son's team, a team called Town Green, and TMS. And we were doing quite well on the grassroots level. And, they were all getting watched by the scouts from all over Liverpool, Everton, Man City, Man United. And, forever trying to take the players. And then one scout from Everton asked me whether I'd be interested in working for Everton. And I said, I'll jump at the chance. But it was a full-time role, so which I took. So it was sort of left Liverpool and went there. It was one of them, is you feel like your dreams come true because you're working up at Finch Farm, which is obviously state-of-the-art for the club that you love anyway. You got season tickets for, and it wasn't even a job really. It was absolutely that was made up. It was in reality.
And when you talk, we mentioned about Dave Whelan coming in and what he did for Wigan Athletic and winning the FA Cup and getting to raise the cup after I think he played in a match where he broke his leg or something, and couldn't finish the game or something, if I remember correctly. But you've got an owner like that, and then you've got an owner now like Andy Holt at Stanley. Are there similarities between the two?
Andy Holt's just an unbelievable fella, to be honest. I mean, I've known sort of chairmen, if you like, and owners of clubs. But that's when you've been a player. But when you've come on the coaching side of things, like you have now at Accrington, and you get to know Andy, sort of on match days, day to day when you go in training, you see him around the place. He's just a passionate guy. He loves Accrington, loves the club. He can't do enough for the community. It's just he's a top fella. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and just to kind of backtrack a little bit, one thing I wanted to ask you about is you were playing with Knowsley and then you moved on to Wigan, and that was when you started playing in the Football League for the first time. And this is just something we've kind of talked to other guys about, so I wanted to get your opinion on it. What were some of the biggest differences between jumping into the Football League, both in terms of the level of play, and also the terms of adjusting from part-time to full-time football?
I think for me personally, I think it was a physical thing because, I wasn't sort of one of the physical side of things. It was more, good on the ball and could see things and was quite intelligent that way. Could beat a man and assist and stuff. So going from, and I was always really, really fit non-league. So going from non-league then into professional and doing my first pre-season was just really, really tough because it was just every single day you're pushing your body, so asking it loads of questions, and inevitably with me, there was things breaking down, where it's sort of, I broke my ankle once. I've had 2 operations on my 5th metatarsal on my left foot. I've had 3 operations on 2 on one knee, 1 on the other knee. So it was sort of, I found it tough. I thought it was physically a bit more demanding. I thought it was, I'd say obviously technically better, you know what I mean? But it was one where I was ready to make the jump on. I thought I did successfully because the first season, I played the 15 league games and we were doing really, really well. And then we went to Brighton away and I jumped up for an header. And then I think Mark McGee was playing at the time and Steve Cox was over and were playing up front for Brighton. And then I jumped up for an header, come down. I've ended up sort of break. No, actually, sorry, no, I've gone in for a tackle. And the ball's rolled out, and I've just gone in for the tackle. It's just gone out for the throw-in right in front of the dugout. And Dave Philpotts and Brian Hamilton at the time of the managers. And I've sort of felt a crack in my foot. Oh, what's that? And then Dave Philpotts has sort of picked me up saying, come on, you've only fell over. I've actually threw the ball down the line down to the pitch and gone, whoa. And I built my 5th metatarsal. So that was like the demands of playing professional football on my body at the time, short space of time coming in, probably just says it probably wasn't quite. That's something.
So it's the physical demand of training every day is something that if you're playing non-league, you're playing part-time, you're doing a regular job, you're not necessarily training every single day, and then you just have that physical demand, and then on top of that, you're going out and playing with probably bigger and more physical players on a weekly basis as well.
Yeah, that's about right, yeah.
And because of that, sometimes when you talk to people who play non-league, they got a family, they're working, they got a job. Sometimes it's harder on that work-life balance than practicing, and challenging your body every day. Did you find it was a challenge when you were doing non-league and having to work and all that sort of things that come with it?
Yeah, I think so because I was lucky enough because I had the coaching as well, so I was doing the coaching sort of part time, and then I was working, different places. I was working at the scaffolding company that my dad used to work for. I was doing bits there. So and obviously I didn't have a family. So the biggest thing if someone playing non-league is if they've got a young family, but they've got an opportunity to go step up into the league, then maybe the money they're getting offered doesn't match up to what they can make playing non-league and obviously the job. So you can see why some lads who have been really, really good in the players have stayed at non-league level. And other lads, they haven't sort of had them responsibilities of a family and stuff. So they've just gone, I'll take the cut and, and all of a sudden believe in your own ability, take the chance and kick on from there, hopefully.
And then another thing that kind of moving forward in your coaching career that kind of popped out to me, because this is a team that we've covered a little bit on the show, and Tony and I actually did an interview on, but I noticed that you spent some time with Barrow AFC, and I also understand in the 90s that this may have been an interesting place to play. So how was it playing for Barrow AFC?
Yeah, well, that came about was I got a phone call off Mick Walsh, who was the manager at Barrow at the time, because sort of Mick had seen that had been released at Wigan, and then he was sort of one of them where every time when he was managing at Bury, I always seemed to do quite well when Wigan played Bury. So he's probably kept an eye on me, and then seen the name flash up and said, "Right, I'll take him." So I ended up signing for Barrow, and there was quite a few scouts that had played for Barrow at the time. So we sort of all met at the Rocket, which is a pub. They started the 62, the M60, and obviously every home game was an away game for us. So we got picked up there, and they ended up signing for Barrow and Mick Walsh and Tony Ford, who was assistant manager. It was quite good, enjoyed it, but I think he left, I'd say about 10 games in. Steve McMahon had got the Swindon job and then wanted and asked Mick would he come as assistant. So Mick sort of went. He phoned me up and apologised and said, "Listen, I've only just signed you," but I said, "Listen, no problem. You've got to go and do what you've got to do, that's fine." And I obviously enjoyed my time at Barrow. It was a cracking club, great little ground, great atmosphere. You know, I think they used to get 1,500 watching them. You know,
yeah, they seem...
it's well supported.
Yeah, they seem to have a very passionate fan base because they're kind of on that peninsula, and it's kind of one of the only sports teams there. So we just really caught eye of how passionate they are up there. So I caught my eye that you had played there, and then the next place you went to was Ashton United, and I'm going to assume that's probably where you met up with John and Jimmy for the first time, and you were maybe part of that first team that they coached that just missed out on promotion. Is that correct?
Yeah, it was, to be honest. I mean, to be fair, in between leaving Barrow, I sort of left Barrow because Mick had gone. Owen Brown come in and finished the season off under Owen at Barrow, and I sort of started the next season off at Marine with Rolly Howard. So things didn't work out there. It was sort of gone in there in the summer, done a pre-season, sort of didn't like it. Out was going, didn't really play that much football, and I was sort of gone by Christmas. And then, as you said, John had come in for me, and Jimmy were at Ashton, and I went up there. Yeah, it was great, good times there.
And then you moved on. I know that John had basically said that he took a lot of players from that club from over to Accrington Stanley that season. I'm guessing you were one of those guys, and I also know that you were captain on that 99-2000 promotion team that we talk about so often.
Yeah, that was the one. I mean, I remember when John left and gone to Accrington, and I was still at Ashton, so obviously under contract, and John King had come in as manager, and I said, I said, John, listen, it's time for Coley at Ashton, so, he wants me to go to Accrington with him, and if you don't mind, I want to go. So I think it was a few weeks before. I think the rumour has it there was I don't know whether it was a bag of balls or whatever it was. And he ended up exchange, and you can go across. So yeah, he ended up going to Accrington then, and then, as you said, I was captain on that famous day when we won the league, which I don't know whether you've had Jay Flann on before, Jay Flannery, talking about that experience.
Yeah, we had him on.
Yeah, Jay was the captain, but he was suspended. I was like the vice captain. He was suspended that day, and there was loads of banter going round, and everyone was saying listen, if we do it today, we win the league. They'll go and pick the trophy up, and I didn't feel it was right. I couldn't do it. It wasn't in my makeup to go and take all the glory because obviously Jay was the captain, the real captain. I was a vice captain, so when we did get over the line and we did win it, which is absolutely brilliant, the fans were. The place was obviously sold out. It was chocker, and I had my oldest son, Joe. He was there as well, and at the time, and I shouted Jay up, say, "Come on, we'll go and get the trophy together." He was absolutely delighted, and just lifted it together and said, "The rest is history." It was a great day, great night.
That when you look back in over 20 years ago now, and you look where the stadium is and the club is now, when you were back in 1999, you couldn't have foreseen where the club would be today, could you?
No chance, Tony. Definitely not. I mean, John and Jimmy just deserve all the credit in the world because what they've done has been absolutely outstanding. I mean, the two of them are top coaches and top fellas as well, The banter at the club is brilliant. The professionalism at the club is brilliant, if that's what people want to call it as well. But they know the game inside out. But at that time, what you were saying there, from there to seeing where it is now, there was no way anyone could see that. That coming. And as I said, they deserve everything and credit. goes to them two alone as well, especially obviously all the chairmans, Eric Wally. Eric was so funny when I was there. He had this voice, Eric, he lit this sort of squeaky voice that you could hear from anywhere. But he always sort of seemed to stand in the corner, and if you lost the ball, and now Doolan, what are you doing? And all that stuff. And he was great at it, but his work as well as Andy, and is carrying that on like so. But at the time, you definitely couldn't see that happening. Like.
The one story I have about Eric Wall is when I was visiting the club, and it was during the week in the 90s, and I wanted to buy a shirt. And back then, you just had to knock on the door, and they just had a few shirts on the hangers, and Eric Wally was the one who opened the door and sold me the shirt.
That doesn't surprise me. Eric will sell you this year. Sell you the cup of tea and a burger, and then see you through the turnstile as well. Take the money at the turnstile. He was literally everywhere at it.
I told him, I said I traveled all the way from Canada back to Accrington, and I wanted to buy a shirt, and I was I probably was looking for a discount, but no, it was the regular price. And no chance whatsoever.
Oh my God, not with Eric. You got no chance of that. Every penny was a prisoner.
Those stories that back in the day that when they won, he was happy, but if they scored a certain number of goals or they give up a goal or whatever it was, some bonuses.
Bonus and all that. Yeah. You'd have to win the game and then just say keep it at 2-0 or whatever it is, or 1-0. You didn't want to pay any more out. That was it. Yeah. Hilarious.
Priceless. Anyway, sorry, Phil always brings me back because I have a tendency to go off on a tangent. So sorry about that, Phil.
Oh no need to be sorry. Those stories are really priceless, and I mean to me that's history right there, and that's really part of what we're trying to do with these shows is kind of tell the whole story of the club, and certainly stories like that really put into perspective how far the club has come to be in League One and where it's at right now. And I want to transition into your coaching time. But before we do that, before we started the show, I did mention that Tony Robinson has what have now become world famous questions.
I wouldn't go that far, Phil.
This has been by far our most popular segment on the show. When Tony came up with this, at first we just had 2 questions, and it was just supposed to be something kind of fun. But now we have a sound effect and about 10 questions. And Tony, I'm going to let you have the floor.
Okay, so actually 10 questions. I think I've got about 27, but I crossed a lot of them out. So here we go. Just there's no right or wrong answer, John. Just whatever. Just some fun here. So. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Beatles.
Mushy or garden peas?
Mushy.
Red or brown sauce on your baked butty?
Brown.
Brown. Red or white wine? And this is Mark Hughes' question.
Yeah, red.
Right. I got to say, as we're flying through these, normally when we did with John Coleman, it took about half an hour because we had an explanation after each one.
He throw funny and John after it. So, yeah.
Okay, with your full English, with or without black pudding?
Oh, with.
Oh, good man. Soap opera, Coronation Street or EastEnders?
Oh, Coronation Street all day.
And after a match, if you were to go in the lounge, would you for happy hour? Would you have Aki Ale or lager?
Well, to be honest, when I go in the lounge, it's normally to get John out so I can go home. Okay. Or I normally send his grandson in, Charlie, as like he's my joker. I go and play it, throw him in, go and give your granddad or Papa, he calls him, to sad face and get him out. I don't really participate, but if he had to say, I'd say Aki Ale. Yeah,
that's that. I always enjoy that when I go back. On the and I gotta admit, I just watched this last weekend. Would you watch or have you watched Sunderland Till I Die?
Yeah, I've watched both of them. Yeah.
Oh, and we know the answer to this one, Phil, because we talked about it earlier on. It was what color are you for Liverpool, red or blue? So we know the answer to that one.
Blue all day. Blue all day.
And what's your favorite takeaway?
Chinese.
Very good. Over to you, Phil.
Yeah, that seems to be a popular answer over in England. Is Chinese. I've been noticing that comes up.
We got Subway from John Coleman.
Yeah, I did not see that one coming.
No.
we do have a couple. So Tony asked you the Beatles or the Rolling Stones, and that the modern kind of version of that is Oasis versus Blur.
Oh, Oasis.
Oasis. I think we're still at 100% Oasis, except for Aaron and a couple of people on Twitter. And then we have a couple of North American questions. And Tony, as he mentioned, he travels back to Accrington, where he's originally from Toronto each year to visit the games. And he wants to bring back Canada's signature dish of poutine, which is chips, gravy, and cheese curds. Is this something you'd like to try?
Yeah, definitely. You got to try it, haven't you? 100%. I'd try that, yeah.
Oh, I have it when I go to the hockey games sometimes.
Is it nice?
Oh, every local chippy could put that thing together really quick. Instead of you put your red hot chips, or you put some cheese on it, let it melt, a dollop of gravy. Man, talk about slow your blood up going through your veins, but at least it tastes good, man.
Oh, I can smell it now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm from quite a bit further south. I'm in the U.S. down in Phoenix, Arizona, and here we actually have where we take our pepperoni pizza and add hot jalapeno peppers to it. Is that something you'd like to try? A pizza with hot jalapeno peppers?
No, definitely don't like hot stuff, to be honest. I mean, John Coleman would be all over that.
Yeah.
He loves all that hot stuff. I'd probably try it. I would try it, but I think it'd be too hot for me.
Well, my recommendation is if you are going to try it, and you're not generally somebody that eats spicy foods, try the pickled jalapenos as opposed to the fresh ones, because they're a little less spicy.
Yeah, definitely.
Would you agree with that, Tony?
Oh yeah, I love jalapenos. I have them on lots of stuff. I have jars in the fridge and jars in the cupboard. So I'm with Coley on that one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that's what John's like. John loves anything else.
Phil, you forgot? Have you been asked about the pineapple one?
Oh yeah, and that was what Joe Bursick is the one who said that he wanted pineapple on his pizza. Do you like pineapple on your pizza?
Yeah, they have pineapple. They have fruit in the morning. Touch of pineapple, so I wouldn't mind that on the pizza. Yeah, I'd that before on the pizza.
I'm gonna be honest. The pineapple and the jalapeno doesn't actually go bad together, because you kind of get that sweet and spicy. Have you ever had that, Tony?
I like what we call it here is Hawaiian pizzas, which is ham and pineapple.
Ham and pineapple, that's the one, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and I think it's really good. I think it's a nice blend. I'd probably have the pepperoni pizza and put jalapenos on that.
Well, personally, I don't like ham myself at all. I don't like West Ham. I don't like Fulham. I don't like ham on my pizza. I don't like a ham sandwich. I don't like Southampton. It just doesn't matter.
Or West Ham. You don't like West.
No, yeah. I mean, it if it's ham,
Yeah.
And then we had one new one that we added, which is: do you prefer Star Wars or Star Trek?
Star Wars.
All right, good answer.
Yeah, I think a lot of people go for that Star Wars, Phil.
Yeah, I mean, so far the only person who said Star Trek was Aaron last night.
Well, he likes Blur, so I mean, that explains
Answers that one.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he was born on the upside down side of the earth. So, Aaron's our Australian co-host. We're having a little bit of fun with him.
Aaron is it?
Yeah, Aaron is. Yeah, Tony, did we get through all the questions here?
Yeah, I think we've done the rapid fire. I got a couple that if we could go back to Wigan before we go into more of the coaching part of his career.